It's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a very, very enriching day of conversation and wonderful, wonderful team and really, really great opportunity to be here and speak to all of you, very, very dignified guests. So when I was given this very interesting topic for today's conversation, the next gen innings, play bold or play safe, it really gave me time to introspect, to think about my life, what I'm doing currently, because I'm a second generation from a business family. Our company is called Vedanta Resources. We're a critical mineral transition metal technology and energy company. And this was started by my father almost 3 decades ago. And playing bold and playing safe really gave me time to introspect how he was as a leader and how maybe I should be going forward. And going back 3 decades ago, I've watched my father every single day, he's taken me to his site visits, to the plants, to the mines, and he really knew, like when you go to any site with him, he knows every single brick of every single plant. He has built this empire which takes maybe people generations to build. He's done it in maybe 15 years. And when you go back and think about how he did it or what he did to make that happen, he got, there was no playing safe during his time. Everything he did was bold decisions, high stakes, high risk. And really, the difference between him and me, I think one of the big differences, he's a small town boy. He came from a small town in an Indian state called Bihar, Patna. And he just had a big dream. He wanted to do something big. He wanted to make a big difference, not only for himself, but for the country. And he had nothing to lose. He came from a space where there was nothing to lose. He had no real family, no education, no money. So he was ready to risk it all to do something big. Today, where I stand, I have everything to lose because he's built an empire where there's 100,000 people, built it brick by brick. He's done it himself, so it's something he's created, something that an empire that employs over 100,000 people every day, impacts over 200 to 300 districts in India, in Africa, and many other countries. So putting me in that position as a next generation, I don't think I'm in a position where I can say I can give up everything and lose everything. I have to be or play a little bit more carefully. So what's really the answer? I was thinking about this for the past few days, and I was thinking that, look, for growth, for progress, we have to have bold dreams, we have to have bold ambition. There's no way there's going to be progress unless you dream big, unless you dream about something that is unthinkable. And to dream big, we need to be bold. So when it comes to direction, bold is the way to go. We have to set bold direction. But when it comes to execution, that's when you can play a little bit safer than what the previous generation did. And how do you do that? How do you do, well, and a third thing, basically in today's time, you have to be bold in your direction, safer in your execution, but you can't forget speed. Today, in the world that we're in, speed, efficiency is absolutely the primary thing to think about every single day. Times are changing, things are changing, technology is changing. You have to be part of that race. You can't freeze legacy in time because the world is pushing past it every single day. If you give an example of our modern day technology, it took 70 years for the telephone to reach 50 million users. It took only maybe 7 years for televisions to use 50 million users, maybe 4 years for internet users, and ChatGPT, I think about 5 days to reach 50 million users. Time is flying, and we need to catch up and be with it. So, bold mission, very, very important. Bold direction, safer execution, and speed being at the center of all of this. How do you do this? So the way my father operated, I like to call it one genius and 1,000 helpers. That was that time, where you had one man with a dream, with an ambition, and people who believed in him not so much the direction that he was believing in, because a lot of what he was dreaming was probably unthinkable at that time. So you had one man, a big dream, big vision, and thousands of helpers supporting him achieve that dream. Where I stand, one genius and 1,000 helpers is not going to help. It's not going to progress. We need to move towards institutionalization. So how do you transform from a one genius, 1,000 helper model to an institution? That's really core, and that's really key to a positive transformation towards growth. And I'd like to give a few examples about how Vedanta is doing it today and the decisions we're taking to make this possible. There are 5 big decisions that we've taken for this transformation to become possible. One, if some of you have heard of Vedanta, you would know that we're going through a large demerging process. We're demerging into 5 entities, possibly 10 in the future, possibly 15 after that. What will demerger do? Instead of having one large entity on top, you're breaking your company down into 5 different entities with their own leadership. You hire the best talent, you hire co-entrepreneurs who have big thinking, big vision for them to drive the company, and the buck stops at them. You need to completely diversify your thinking. You don't need one genius anymore. You need 100 geniuses. So each company should have their own leadership model, leadership structure, and they have to drive it. The buck stops at them. How do you do that? Is the demerger, which is really one of the big ways that we're looking at institutionalizing the company. The only thing that happens on the top is making sure we hire the right people, making sure we're buying and selling the right entities, and making sure that we have a very, very strong rule book for governance that everyone follows. So that's really one of the key ways to move towards institutionalization. Number 2, how do you future-proof your product portfolio? And this requires a lot of thinking, especially coming from a natural resources company. Some of it is real, some of it is rebranding. For example, mining, not loved so much. Critical minerals, loved. Transition metals, loved. It's still mining, but you just sort of position it differently. You talk about the future, you talk about how copper is for your EVs, you talk about how silver is for your solar panels, and the World Bank says you need $1.7 trillion of investment in mining for the energy transition to happen successfully. So really, how do you future-proof your portfolio to think more along the lines of critical minerals, transition metals, and sort of metals for the future that are relevant? So that's really part 2 of what we're doing, future-proofing our portfolio. Number 3 is a $5 billion investment into sustainability. Extremely important to make sure that we future-proof the organization. Vedanta is going to be net 050 before 2050, but 3 companies, which are the largest entities, including Hindustan Zinc, will be there before 2030. So sustainability, extremely important, making sure we're going towards time, going towards what the world requires, and how we can future-proof the organization further. What's amazing as well is that being a company, being Hindustan Zinc, which is the largest zinc mine in the world, has been rated by the S&P 3 years in a row as the #1 most sustainable mining company, which is great. It's also the first Indian company to be part of the ICMM. So very, very exciting, and that really is the future. Number 4, innovation. How do you put real-time innovation in an organization, in a company like Vedanta, which is a heavily natural resources and mining company? So something my husband started, he's in the audience. It's called Vedanta Spark. This Spark is basically an organization or a vertical that we started in Vedanta, which will bring real-time 50 to 500 startups, deep tech startups, to use our assets, deliver our volume, a better volume, deliver cost efficiency, and help us in ESG. So this has shown tremendous success in just the first 50 startups. We have seen cost efficiency, we've seen volume growth, we have seen some fantastic transformational safety operations happening because of these startups. And from 50, we're looking at moving to 1,000, maybe a couple of thousand over the next few years. So, there's no point us continuously innovating our own technology. It's great to support startups, bring them into the assets, and make them drive your future. Number 5 really is to set a future where equal opportunities are present for all. In 2019, it was illegal for women to go underground and mine in India. We fought and we made sure, and Hindustan Zinc was the first company in India to get women underground. Now we have a mine fully operated by women. We have the first all-women rescue team of India. We are breaking every stereotype just so that we can ensure 50% of India's population has a chance, an equal chance on the table for any opportunity out there. So really, it's about future-proofing our organization. And to sum up the 4 or 5 things that I said, number 1, how do you ensure you move towards an institution? You move towards it by ensuring that you move from 1 genius to 100 geniuses. You have to create an institution, and you have to make sure that you dream big and you have people following that dream. So finally, coming to the end, this is not about breaking from the past. It's about evolving it boldly, but also responsibly. In the past, playing safe meant being steady, but there's no room for steady in today's world. And so really, this is what I wanted to talk about today. And I think I have some more questions to answer from you. Thank you.
Thank you to Priya. What an incredible overview. Yes, please do take a seat. Sadly, we have run out of time, which is a bit sad. So we only have time for a couple of questions as we're on quite a tight schedule. But really fascinating to see what you're doing, especially that sustainability side of things as well. That's a real amazing sort of vision going forward. So when you're faced with a big decision, let's do some rapid fire questions. What is your instinct, do you think? I mean, you've got a lot of responsibility, as you mentioned. So is it to go bold or is it to play it safe?
So instinctively, I am my father's daughter. I do like... Hello? Yeah. Instinctively, I do have my father's genes. I do like to make bold decisions, and I know that about myself. And that's why I surround myself, and my team are the safest individuals that you will ever meet. So I have to ensure that any decision I take is informed. I have my team aligned, and if they are ready, then I'm ready.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you've got nothing to lose, you're happy to sort of risk it all. But
exactly.
Then, yeah, you've been sort of burdened with this huge responsibility of amazing success. So it's like, how do you sort of play those cards going forward? It's really interesting. What would you say is the boldest call that you've ever made as a leader? What did it teach you?
I think the one that I said, I think to make sure that women can participate in the mining employment, to make sure they can go underground. They are not, there was a lot of, question marks about safety, about ability, but these women are amazing. They have increased production, they've made the mining operations safer, and they are driving, front leg. It's fabulous, and I think it's been a very, very positive change. Not only getting them underground, but they're to be able to work through the night as well. So all of these things were not allowed before in India, but now they should, if they want to, they should have the chance to do it as well.
As you said, if that's what they want to do, 100%,
exactly.
Why not make it an option for them? So if your younger self watched you sort of in the position you are right now, what would sort of surprise her the most? And what have you learned along the way?
I think one of the things that would surprise her is that I was always one of those children who was very afraid to ask silly questions in class. But I've realized that there is no growth without those questions. So there's no fear. I think asking more questions, not thinking, there is no question, or there's no space where you should find yourself less than. So asking more questions confidently. I was a very nervous, shy, young student. Coming from there, I think it's been a big change.
And finally, if you could put a bet on India's next decade, what would you place it on?
So we all know that India is the fastest growing economy. I mean, it took us 60 years to reach 1 trillion from our independence. It's only taken us maybe 4 years to reach from 3 to 4 trillion. So at the speed at which India's economy is growing, I don't think it's going to be the fastest growing economy. It's going to be the economy that makes the decisions for the world as well. With the cheapest innovation, with the largest aspirational youth, I don't think there's any looking back. I mean, from inventing the cheapest car to the cheapest satellite, India has done a lot of fascinating things. And I think we're here to, not just be the fastest, but also be the one that decides.
It really, really has. Yeah. Sadly, that is all we have time for. But thank you so much. A brilliant overview and wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.